Alright, so we have another Superman live action show coming out right away, Superman and Lois. So I figure we should dig back into the old Superman vaults and check out some shows from his past. A past when he was a little bit younger. That's right, I'm talking about Superboy. Today I want to feature on one of my favorite characters of comics, Bizarro. So we got a two-parter episode from this show, so let's go check it out. So alright, let's go. Alright, so we're here in 1989, and we got 2 episodes from Superboy Season 2, and it's all about Bizarro. So let's start off with the first episode, entitled, The Thing of Steel. Superboy meets up with Professor Peterson in his lab, because the professor just invented a duplicating machine and wanted Superboy to check it out. He tries to duplicate a rose, but it turns out that the rose doesn't turn out. The rose is all square, paper-white, clunky, weird-looking, and has no odor. Professor Peterson is positively perplexed by this particular predicament. Say that 5 times fast. Oh, by the way, there's this thunderstorm going on, and a bolt of lightning just shoots into the lab, which turns on the duplicating machine. This turned on machine hits Superboy, and ba-boom! You now have Bizarro. Bizarro is almost just like the Rose. He's paper white, he's clunky, he's weird looking, and he's like the opposite of Superman. He has bad eyesight, he has bad hearing, and he has below average intelligence. So it's really nice little details how Bizarro is always squinting at things when he looks at them, and he's always trying really hard to listen to everything people say to him. Bizarro is not good of hearing, so when Professor Peterson says it's bizarre, he thinks he said, "Bizarro? You say my name Bizarro?" Sorry, that's kind of a bad impersonation. But Bizarro doesn't want to stick around, so he takes off. He even pushes Superboy out of the way. Bizarro tries to meet new people and tries to become friends with them, but everyone's freaked out by his appearance. He realizes he needs a disguise, so he gets basically the same kind of clothes that Clark Kent has. The glasses, the plaid shirt, and everything. Just perfect. Because, you know, he still has a lot of Clark Kent's memories, basically being a clone and all. So he's gonna go to Schuster University, which Clark attends, and hang out with Clark's friends there, Lana and Andy. There is a costume party going on, which Clark Kent has ditched, but when Bizarro shows up, they just think it's Clark wearing some really awesome mask. Meanwhile, Professor Peterson calls up Superboy and says, "Hey man, do you remember that rose that I made? Yeah, well, it's unstable and it blew up. Totally sucks, cause the same thing's gonna happen to Bizarro. So heads up, we should probably, you know, kinda get rid of the guy." And this kinda tears up Superboy, cause his whole thing is about not killing, and he sees Bizarro as his younger brother, right? There's gotta be some other way, but no, you know, if he's gonna blow up, like, what can you do almost, right? So while Bizarro is dressed up as Clark Kent at this costume party, he beats up a dude who's trying to get too close to Lana, because Clark loves Lana, so therefore Bizarro loves Lana. So Bizarro picks this guy up and tosses him like 20 feet, and nobody at the party bats an eye at this. You know, based on personal experience, man, I can't toss someone 20 feet, and I'm a grown-ass adult. Like, if you seen someone do that, wouldn't you be a bit concerned? Or wouldn't you start to think, hey, Clark Kent's really strong, and he's never around when Superboy is? I wonder if there's some connection there. But no, so Lana's pretty perturbed by that display there, and she takes off. Even Andy gives Clark Bizarro the cold shoulder, so Bizarro goes off after Lana. Of course, he has to change into his Superboy uniform, and he does happen to find a phone booth, but it's like one of these half phone booths. But still, hey man, to Bizarro, that's just golden. It's a nice little touch they did there. So Bizarro, in his Superboy uniform, now confronts Lana about, hey, why are you leaving the party? Why are you leaving me? What's up with that? So this part is kind of baffling, because if you've seen Clark Kent wearing this really distinguishable mask at a party and you totally believe that's Clark, and now all of a sudden you see Clark wearing that same distinguishable mask dressed as Superboy with superpowers, wouldn't you make some sort of connection between the two there? No, you wouldn't? Oh, okay, sorry, my bad. I must be reading into this a little too much. So it's all kind of a curveball because the real Superboy shows up and he has kryptonite that is encased in a lead glove from a previous episode. So he's like, hey Bizarro, I got this gift for you, here you go. Bizarro's like, me no want, you have back. Kicks it back to Superboy and, starts killing Superboy. It had no effect on Bizarro because why would it? He's opposite, right? So Bizarro grabs Lana and they fly off. If he's the opposite of Superboy, how does he have all of Superboy's powers still? Sorry, what's that? Oh, it's because conflict can happen. Which realistically has to be, right? And that's the end of part 1. So the second episode is entitled The Battle with Bizarro. So Andy sees Superboy there dying and kicks the kryptonite out of the way, saving him, so that's hip. Bizarro takes Lana to a closed furniture store and says, oh, well, this is our home now, let's start living here. He doesn't know better. He was literally born yesterday. So yeah, you know, good on him for trying, right? So also there, Lana tries to fight him kind of psychologically, try to get into his mind and see what's going on and see how she can kind of convince him to like let her go and stop this, but they don't really pursue that. They just do it for like a couple of lines and then just abandon that whole thought process. Kind of would have been neat if they kind of really delved into her a bit more, but you know, c'est la vie. Professor Peterson realizes of course the kryptonite wouldn't work because, you know, that works on real Superboy and you would need a Bizarro type kryptonite to work on Bizarro. So he actually starts to make that. Meanwhile, back at Bizarro's house, the police show up to try to free Lana, and of course there's a battle with Bizarro and the cops, and of course the police would be losing that battle. So Superboy shows up and tries to reason with Bizarro. It is kind of nice to see that little bit more depth to the character other than just punching people in the face, but reasoning with Bizarro doesn't really go far. He punches Superboy and is like, yeah, I'm out of here. I'm taking my lovely Lana with me and I'm gone. So Bizarro and Lana wind up at a circus where Superboy does show up and this time does use his fists because, hey, it's the only thing that'll probably work, I guess, with this guy. But Bizarro gets away with Lana again and he starts to smoke from every orifice. You know, like he's about to blow, right? So that's when Professor Peterson shows up with the Bizarro kryptonite. But realistically, how would it work? Like, if you use this to kill Bizarro, his body's still gonna be there, and it's still made of those unstable molecules, so he'll still explode. So it actually wouldn't really solve anything. But the Bizarro kryptonite actually turns out to not kill Bizarro, it turns out it actually cures him. How that works, I don't know, but hey, it does. Lana runs to Superboy, they hug and kiss, and Bizarro realizes, oh, she don't love me, she love him. He's all sad, but he can dig it. He makes peace with Superboy. He acknowledges that they are brothers, and it's such an awesome little ending to that, you know? Like, you do kind of see Superboy being the big brother in this whole episode, trying to help out his little younger brother who just doesn't get certain things. And in the end, it does actually pan out. He's like, yeah, you know what? You guys have a life together. I don't have a place here, so I'm gonna leave. He just leaves the planet. I guess this planet's not big enough for 2 superpower beings, and he just flies off. Where does he go? Well, I guess we'll find out next time, because Bizarro does show up in 5 more episodes of Superboy, right? And yeah, that's it. So that was a beauty of an episode. Actually, the whole show is pretty wicked awesome. This episode is fairly faithful to Bizarro's original appearance in Superboy number 63. Superboy was blasted with a duplicating ray, creating Bizarro, and he tried to deal with Bizarro as best he could. In the comics though, Superboy did accidentally on purpose destroy Bizarro, whereas in the show, they try to show a bit more depth to Superboy, trying to reason with him, but then technically Bizarro was like a ticking time bomb, so man, your options are kind of screwed. Speaking of comic characters from the Superboy comics, they did actually bring in a lot of other characters from the comics into this show, which is really awesome. Outside of Bizarro and obviously Lex Luthor, they also brought in some other classic characters like Mr. Mixelplix. I think I said that right. They also brought in Yellow Perry and another recurring character of Metallo. So get on you guys, right on, eh? This show is also kind of different from the Superboy comics because in the comics, Superboy was growing up in Smallville, Kansas. The show is an older version of Superboy where he is attending Schuster University in Florida and he is enrolled in the Segel School of Journalism. Now, if those names sound familiar to you, they should. Segel and Schuster were the co-creators of Superman and therefore Superboy, and Joe Shuster's totally Canadian, eh? As great as this show was, it didn't really get a whole lot of screen time after its first run. There were some legal battles going on in the background as to which characters were actually owned by whom. This prevented the show going into syndication. Another reason you didn't see the reruns was Superboy ended in 1992, and in 1993, the network was producing another live-action Superman-themed show, Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. This one here, season 1, is totally awesome. So the network didn't want to have 2 live-action Superman shows out there. It might confuse a lot of viewers as to which one is which. I guess, you know, maybe. While this show wasn't shown on television, the actor who played Superboy from season 2 to season 4, Gerard Christopher, he did have the master tapes of the shows from those seasons, and he did sell VHS copies of those. So that did get the show out there and did keep it alive. The legal disputes from the show did end in around 2005, so DVDs of the show could finally be produced. This is definitely a show I would recommend checking out. Like, it's pretty fun, it's pretty awesome. Definitely check it out. Right on, and there you go. So thanks for watching the video. I hope you liked it as much as I did making it. Also, feel free to check out the source material that I featured in this video. And if you want to leave a comment on anything you may have liked or things I might have missed in this, feel free to do so. Or anything else, just to say hi. That's cool too. And other than that, have a great day. Thanks.